So let's say that I wanted to redo some of my old stuff. Where would I begin? Well, where else? We're redoing the Minimalist Challenge for Ocarina of Time, which the original run is like 5.5 years old as of recording this video, which is pretty crazy. A lot of time has passed, and the original run hasn't aged so well as far as just general quality, how the game looks, how it sounds. Debatable on the sound because it's going to sound relatively the same. But also the way that I handle talking and dialogue and all that stuff. I did a lot of like yelling and just, I don't know. It was quite weird, but I'm hoping to rectify a lot of mistakes I made, including having this game in 4:3 aspect ratio instead of 16:9, so that way the game doesn't look stretched, and just I want it to be better. I want this to be the best experience possible. And we're also using a ROM hack of the game, which is, I think it's just called Ocarina of Time Redux. It just, like, some features of the game are improved. Stuff like that, like text boxes move a little faster. I can't remember what else has really changed, but oh goodness, let's turn it down. I forgot that Ocarina of Time is kind of a loud game. But general things have changed, including the Young Link model and the Adult Link model have changed, which the Young Link model has a strap around his tunic, which is where his sword and shield go, which is an addition they made in Ocarina of Time 3D. And so it was retrofitted into Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64, and I'm running this on official Nintendo 64 hardware, which is really cool. Again, I can't remember like everything that they changed, but general quality of life fixes have been made in this version of Ocarina of Time, but for all intents and purposes, this is still Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64. Nothing is really different, just things are a little better, and that's the idea of redoing my old content. I want it to be better. I mean, it'll still be me, but I won't have random yelling. I won't complain about the speed of the game or anything. I did a lot of complaining. I've been rewatching my old videos on this stuff, and I've been embarrassing myself. But again, like I said, I've been rewatching my old videos on this, and I did a lot of complaining. Talked about how slow Kokiri Forest is, the beginning of the game. Navi, just all kinds of stuff. To be fair, it was my first time doing anything with recording, and my first time putting any content out in the public. And so, I guess I was just nervous. I'm pretty sure that was what it was. I can't really imagine it being anything else, because I don't really complain about the beginning of the game. It's just it's hard. It's hard watching the old stuff, just because it's not how I behave normally. But anyways, so yeah, Minimalist Challenge. It's gonna be the same kind of stuff that you've seen before. Despite the fact I did do like I embarrassed myself in my old recordings, I put a lot of effort into beating this challenge, facing several resets and several game crashes apparently. I made a lot of mistakes, like apparently I had to go through the Great Deku Tree 3 times total. 2 of them were off screen, 1 time was recorded but I grabbed a heart container, so I still had to reset the run. That was all kinds of interesting mistakes. Anyways, let's go and get our shield. Or our sword, actually. We'll need to grab all the rubies we can as fast as we can. And yeah, just chilling, just sitting down, cold Pepsi beside me, controller in my hand, and just, you know, just enjoying my time. I don't imagine that these videos will be too long, but if they are, oh well. Yeah, we're slamming headfirst into a boulder. It's perfectly normal, I assure you. Kids these days always do that. And they're always headbutting to walls and stuff. Alright, sword acquired. I still wish we could fast forward through the text a little bit, but what are you gonna do? And there's a lot of things that I didn't really, what's what I'm looking for? I didn't appreciate. That's what I'm looking for. In the original videos, I made a lot of, like, pot shots that, like, you know, practice the sword before you really get going, or stuff like that, or Z targeting, or, you know, movement in general. And I kind of forgot that this is the first time that Zelda is in 3D. This doesn't control, you know, like A Link to the Past or Link's Awakening. You know, it's a different kind of game. And so, like, yeah, practice with a sword before you go, because the sword, I mean, you know, swinging your sword around in a 3D space is nothing like it was in 2D. Like, it was all different. And I didn't really, you know, respect that. The game was like, yeah, this is new. You're probably new to the 3D experience. You know, don't be afraid to just play around with your sword before you actually get into the thick of it. Because the game is so varied. It's so different. And it's easy, you know. It's easy to make fun of the game for, you know, saying things that, you know, don't apply to me. I'm used to how this game plays. I've been playing this game for, you know, 27 years or something like that. Not 27 years. I've been playing since I was 1, but playing for over 20 years. No, not for over 20. When did it turn 20? It turned 20 in 2018, right? Isn't that when I did my, my video on Ocarina of Time? Like a review or something like that? Anyway, even if it wasn't 20 years, I've been playing this game for the majority of the time the game has been out. And so, you know, I'm just used to it. I know how this game works. But, anyways, enough waffling. We have our sword, we have our shield, and it only took 8.5 minutes to get that done. Whereas I think the entire first, you know, for the entire first video was just me getting to the Deku Tree. And it took very, very long. Why does it not return to that screen? Oh, wait, doesn't it remember me? Oh, did I move? Or does it change when I move screens? Huh. So it doesn't stay on that screen, but it does stay on the screen if you're in the same room. Okay. Alright, let's see. I've got to remember to pick up just the essentials. And this time, I'm going to try avoiding the dungeon map and compass. Which, I mean, for the first 3 dungeons, that won't be a problem. They're the first 3. They're short. They're not very complicated either, on top of being short. So, not going to be an issue. But we are going to grab Deku Sticks. We're going to grab 10 of them. And that's our maximum amount for the rest of the game, is 10. There is a Deku Stick upgrade, which I believe there's only 1. And it brings up to 20. Which would be nice, but even, like, as a completionist sense, you're not going to be using more than, like, 5 or 6 sticks in general. I mean, like, it's hard to burn through even 3. So the sheer fact that you can get 20 is kind of too much. I mean, like, it's neat, but it's not necessary. Just like getting hearts isn't necessary. Obviously, which is why we're doing this run. Alright, give me 10 so I can move on, please. Alright, very good. we have the maximum amount, and we can start talking to the Deku Tree, and we can... I think we can do the dungeon, too, while we're at it. How about that? I think we have enough time to do that. I like doing long-form content now. It's just better for me. It's easier to do than having to record for 10 or 15 minutes and then end the video and then wait for it to render and everything like that, waiting for it to export, and then I get back to playing the game where I might have already lost the will to keep going on because I had to wait and I was perusing Twitter or what have you, and that's part of the problem with when I do this stuff, is that I have to wait for it to export, and while I'm waiting for it to export, I'm just doing something else, and then my mind just switches off on, you know, doing the thing that I was going to do. Okay, anyway. It's time to beat this dungeon. And I thought about doing a minimalist run on Master Quest, because the Redux ROM does patch to Master Quest, which in of itself is kind of a patch, but it's not. It's its own ROM. But decided against it. I'm already doing something slightly different anyway with having a modified ROM of Ocarina of Time with general changes. Alright. Let's get this out of the way for her to talk about climbing the ivy. And again, another thing I didn't really appreciate is the fact that it's telling you that you can climb. You know, the last Zelda game you can climb in was Zelda 1, and that technically isn't actually true, because going up, it was just going up on tiles, you weren't climbing anything. Dungeon map right there. Slingshot is in here. And with opening doors, it's completely different. You didn't have to press anything to open a door in 2D Zelda games. So this is new. You don't just go through a door. You have to press the action button. This is the tutorial. Oh, right. I keep forgetting that my back Z button is not my R button. Oops. Come on. I'm sorry. I messed up. Alright. And then, what's this one? Oh yeah, jumping. You could technically jump in 2D Zelda games, but it wasn't the same as how it is implemented in 3D Zelda games, where you just auto-jump. And then there's fall damage, which was not a thing in 2D Zelda games, introduced in 3D Zelda games. And so it's like, hey, if you hold up with a control stick, you might be able to roll and take no damage from falling, because at a certain point, you'll break your ankles. Just like in real life. And then that platform there, I did this last time, but you can actually just use the platform to jump across to the side, but then that'll leave you stuck, and you have to shoot down that ladder with your your slingshot. Obviously, I'm not going to bother with that. There's no point. But this game tries to teach you how to handle the game, because it is new. Well, was new. It isn't new anymore. It's kind of old. Kind of old and rickety. Yeah, turned 20 in 2018. That's right, because this game came out in 98. November 20th? Is that right? No, not November 20th. It was November something. Anyways, and up here we can get a gold Skulltula token. Not gonna get it. Okay, need to equip the slingshot. We'll have this. Do I want this here and here? Yeah, that looks right. Yeah, sure, why not? And then we can start attacking these Skulltullas, which we need to clear out. Well, we still need to clear out two. We can probably clear out just... Let's try to clear out just one. Let's see if we can cheese this a little bit. Uh-oh. Where are you turning? Not good. Come on. Yeah, there we go. We got on the proper cycle. See? That's how we play the game. Don't actually bother hitting those Skulltullas. You can just climb right by them, as long as you know their range. All right, and then in here, oh, we don't need an item in there. We can just completely skip it. We've already got our key item. Excuse me. Oh, that I like that when it bounces too much and now we keep going, hey, 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 hey. The way it works is when you're on that spider web, you know, Navi will say, hey, and you're like, hey, you can look down and you can probably break through this web with enough distance. But since I kept bouncing off of it, it just acted like I was hitting it multiple times. And now we gotta repeat this process, which... not a problem. Look at that. I believe the Master Quest, in order to get to a treasure chest in the Forest Temple, you actually need to get hit by a Skulltula in order to proceed. There we go. Very good. Okay. And now we can hit the switch. Oh, I remember another adjustment that was made in the Redux version. So normally, whenever you get a gold Skulltula token, the game will pause on the collection screen, like for when you get one. But the way it behaves in the Redux is how it works in Majora's Mask, where you can just keep moving as the notification pops up, which is really neat. It really keeps the game flowing a lot better than it originally did. And then is this the... what's your hint? What do you tell me? Oh, 3, 2, 1. Or 23 is number 1, not 3, 2, 1. And I think it's 31 is number 2 in Master Quest. I can't remember that one. I can always remember the original one because I played this game so much. Makes sense I can remember it. But, yeah. Oh, that's right. Another adjustment. So, it's kind of minute. Very helpful, though. You can just free aim. Like, you don't have to... like, if you're pointing up at the screen, or with your slingshot, if you're not holding down the control stick to point it up, because it's like airplane controls, it'll just go back to center. Whereas... let's grab these. Whereas in this, it behaves how it does in, I think, the 3D version. I think even Majora's Mask recentered when it came to aiming. I can't quite remember. Oh, and I learned a trick. If you mash B while you're swimming, you can swim a little faster. Did not know that until recently. That's cool. I'm trying to think of how useful that will be. There we go. And just, you know, just waiting around. You know, just chilling, just hanging out. And we can just stand here. We don't need to crouch. And... oh, I can't remember if we can seize this or not. And then moving blocks. It's similar to how it was in A Link to the Past and everything, but with this you actually have to hold the action button in order to get the prompt going for you to move it. Okay, can we make it? Yep, we do. We don't need to kill the Skulltula. That's good. I like that. And then we'll just... there we go. This is almost an anti-violence run, I guess. But, not completely, of course. And... oh, well, that's new to me. I didn't know you could just roll right on past. But we need to... let's see, can we also avoid these? Yep. Yep, we can avoid almost everything in this dungeon. There aren't too many things that require you to get into combat or anything. Which I find interesting. I figured that the first dungeon would be a lot more combat heavy. But really it's just learning the mechanics. So, I mean, it could be combat heavy, but I guess if you know your way around the game, you can kind of cheese certain areas, and I do like me some cheese. So, oh, and block pushing is faster, thank goodness. I don't think that you could push blocks faster in even the 3D version. And again, I could be wrong. It's been a while since I even played the 3D version. Wow, good job, idiot. Truly spectacular. Okay. And let's just deal with this my old puzzle. Ow. Come on. Got the shield hop there. Got the other one. And we don't have to get too close to the Deku Scrub this time either. I don't know if that's been changed or not. I feel like we had to get closer. Or for the text to trigger. But okay, now we can fight Queen Goma. And that's it. Oh yeah, we don't have Deku Nuts. I managed to avoid it this time. Which means we won't be getting any ever. As useful as they are. Turns out the Deku Nuts are the most useful tool you can get in the entire game. Because they work as both a child and adult. And they stun pretty much everything. With no lag. What is my phone doing? Oh, okay. Okay. Hey, Queenie. The parasitic armored arachnid. It doesn't really look too much like a spider or anything. Does it? Oh, I didn't mean to... Well, I meant to de-target and crouch stab, but I pressed the wrong button. I need to get my right finger away from the back trigger. There we go. There we go. So crouch stabbing. I think I tried to explain it in the last series. Not last series. Rather, the first time I played through this game on the channel, is that when you crouch stab, it takes the damage output of the last attack you made with your sword. So for instance, normally the sword stab is only as powerful as a horizontal slice. So right now I'm doing the same damage output as a horizontal slice. But if you do a jump attack, which is the strongest attack for a sword, then when you start crouch stabbing, it takes the power of the jump attack, and now we could just mash the attack button to do jump attack power, but quickly. I don't know if I explained that very well, but it's basically, to shorten it up, when you do a jump attack and then you crouch stab, it does a whole lot of damage really quickly. It allows you to plow through certain bosses and just... Oh, it's glorious. This game is something interesting, let me tell you. I knew that would be able to carry out my wishes. It's almost as if you've done this a few times before. Sure, let's listen. We got nothing better to do. I'm glad I decided to redo my old stuff. It just, you know, sometimes you need a second chance. I feel like I got it. Oh, also interestingly enough, I mentioned in like, I think the 4th or 5th, I can't remember what it actually was, but I do know I referenced Pokemon Coliseum and then wanting to play Chibi Robo, which is really interesting because I do technically have some Coliseum recorded, but this was like back in 2016? 17? When did I start doing this thing? I think it was 16. That I was at the time recording Pokemon Coliseum, but it didn't turn out too well, and at that time I was embarrassed of the attempt I made at it, which is saying something, because my standards weren't all that great back then. I mean, they aren't too great now, but it is ironic that even now, 5.5 years later, I'm still doing this thing of where I'm recording Ocarina of Time and also Pokemon Coliseum. I also have the means to record Chibi Robo, and I've wanted to do that series for such a long time on this channel just because it's a really quirky game. It's very Japanese. Like, it is unapologetically Japanese. And that's why it's so funny and great. It's got a lot of quirks to it and a lot of charm. I think a lot of stuff like that is kind of missing in just gaming in general. Not just modern gaming, just gaming in general. Just being fun and funny because it can be. You know? Ah yes, the creation of Hyrule. We've only seen this about 4 times if you count Twilight Princess's recounting. Oh, not redoing Twilight Princess. That was a little too much for me to go back through and just do another minimalist challenge of, especially the Ganondorf amiibo run. It was the same thing, but you know, doing that and having to use Ganondorf amiibo for that all the time. I died or fell. Very aggravating to have to keep redoing. I'm hoping that the Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD get ported to the Switch, because I mean, then I might have, you know, a reason to go back and play them for the channel, or just for myself even. But I don't want to have to turn on the Wii U just to play them. And to be fair, it's always right here. I mean, I can just turn it on whenever I want. It's always plugged in. But the point is, I don't want to have to keep switching consoles to play certain Zelda games, unless I just want to get the original feeling of the game, in which case I'll play the GameCube version, because that's the original version of The Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. All that being said, I'm not redoing Twilight Princess HD's Minimalist Run True Pain mode, I think I called it. Too tough. I've already done it once. I think for that once is enough. You know, that was just, ugh. No thank you. And through all that, we got a Kokiri Emerald. Or the Kokiri Emerald. We did it. We beat the first dungeon. The spiritual stone of the forest, now entrusted you by the great Deku tree. Another interesting thing that I guess I didn't really know is that you don't need to put a hyphen, or is it a dash? Yeah, it's a dash. You don't need to put a dash between 3 and hearts. I didn't know that at the time when I first did this run, but I mean, I might as well keep doing it right. Gotta continue the legacy of 3 hearts, not 3 hearts, but yeah. Another interesting thing is I kept repeating, like, on the videos, like, 3 hearts minimalist run. Well, that's a redundancy. It kind of gets through that you're doing a 3 heart run if you're doing a minimalist run. You don't need to say that say both things. I did intros back then and outros. Oh, can you imagine? The only time I do outros is when I'm finishing a series. Because, I don't know, I just don't like doing them. I don't like doing intros and outros because they don't do anything. What do they actually do? The video starts when it starts, the video ends when it ends. I only sign off when I'm signing off a series, you know? That's sort of finality to it. I guess we're gonna get the Fairy Ocarina, and then we'll end the episode, I guess. I didn't realize I would just kind of keep going. I don't know how I didn't realize that, but, you know. I just want to play the game. And, the wanting to play a game makes it infinitely better when you're recording it. Because you're not forcing your way through and having to go through unpleasantries. Yep, I'm leaving. Again. The 3rd time. And the final time. Maybe. Unless I decide to redo Master Quest. Oh, do I really want to do Master Quest? There's a lot of not fun things in Master Quest. A lot of dumb puzzle gimmicks. Do I really want to do Master Quest? You know what? If by the end of this challenge I feel like I want to keep going on, then I will. But I don't think I'll be redoing Master Quest. I don't know. It's just not great. It's good if you know the game. But I mean, that's the only reason you play it is if you know the game really well. But I don't know. Master Quest ain't great. When you play my Ocarina, I hope you'll think of me and come back to the forest to visit. And Link doesn't know how to respond to that. Just awkward silence, back away. And then run. Because what else are you gonna do, right?